So hi, I'm back again after probably 3 weeks. I wanted to tell you about another story from growing up in Africa. This one has to do with my sister Bonnie. She's 5 years younger than me, and she and my brother Robert, or we called him Bobby at the time, were just toddlers when we arrived in Africa in Ivory Coast. So mom and dad had a little red rocker that they took out to Africa from the States, and I'm not sure, but maybe that rocker was in the family, maybe in my mom's family, maybe she used it when she was little. But anyway, they took this little red rocker to Africa, and Bonnie was about 3 years old, and she loved the little red rocker. Next door to our mission house, they were building apartments for two single missionaries, Aunt Estelle and Aunt Wilma, Aunt Wilma would live downstairs and Aunt Estelle would live upstairs. So the workers were digging a septic tank, and for some reason Bonnie decided it would be a good idea to take the little red rocker and sit on the edge of the big hole. And she, of course, I had to meet with Bonnie last week to ask her what she remembered, because my memories, being told about it, may not be accurate. So she remembers pulling her rocker up to the edge of the big hole that was going to be a septic tank, and she had a handful of little pebbles, and every time she would rock forward, she would throw a pebble in the big dark hole. Evidently, she rocked a little bit too enthusiastically, and when she went forward one time, she just kept going forward. So she and the little red rocking chair went into the big hole. I asked her how deep she thought that hole was, and she said at the time it felt like it was probably 20 feet deep, 18 or 20 feet deep, but it was probably more like 6 to 8 feet deep. But anyway, she was way down there, and she remembers looking up toward the sky, and of course she was crying and screaming, and she said she looked up, and all the African workers that had been on the job site were lined all around the hole, looking down into the hole. And of course what they saw was a little black girl, because she was covered in mud from head to toe, and probably all they could see was the whites of her eyes and her white teeth. Well, they lowered a ladder down into the hole, and one of the workers graciously climbed down into the hole and got Bonnie and brought her back up, and then got the little red rocking chair and brought it up. And amazingly, we still have that little red rocking chair. Mom and Dad had it all those years in Africa, and then they brought it back to the States. And I have pictures of me using the red rocking chair in Houston, Texas before they went to Africa. And I have pictures of my daughter Christy in the red rocking chair when we were on furlough, I guess. So anyway, the red rocking chair has quite a history, and eventually it'll get passed on to someone else. So don't really have a life lesson, except don't get too close to the hole that's supposed to be a septic tank someday. Stay away from the edge. But it's been fun thinking about all of our experiences in Africa. I have stories about frogs and snakes and cars in our yard, car accidents in our front yard, and more stories of frogs and more stories about monkeys. And just keep thinking about more and more, being stranded in the game reserve with wild animals all around. So that's what you have to look forward to. Bye.